Well, hello and welcome to this English lesson about collectibles. Human beings are kind of strange. Some of us like to collect things. We see things and we like to keep it. Maybe we buy it, maybe we find it somewhere, maybe we put it on a shelf and then we find other things that are similar. People collect stamps, they collect coins, they collect rocks. There are all kinds of things that human beings collect for some reason. And in this English lesson, I will talk about them. So once again, welcome to this English lesson about collectibles, all those little things and sometimes big things that people like to buy and collect and keep, I guess, just to look at sometimes. So anyways, once again, welcome to this English lesson about collectibles. Trading cards or sports cards. When I was a kid, I collected hockey cards. A sports card or a hockey card or a baseball card or a football card is a card that has a picture of the player on one side. And on the back, it usually has more information and stats about the player. So I guess because I'm Canadian, as a kid, I collected hockey cards. I don't have any of my hockey cards anymore. I wish I did because I think some of them might actually be somewhat valuable. But as a kid, I collected hockey cards. You might have collected soccer cards, or you might call them football cards. Or you might have collected, I don't know, do they make them for tennis? I'm not sure. But very fun. And then you'll notice they're called trading cards, sports cards. And then you also use the name of the sport. So you could say, oh, I collect baseball cards. I collect trading cards. I collect hockey cards. I really enjoyed my hockey card collection as a kid. I wish I still had it. I think maybe my mom threw it out, but I don't have it anymore. That's kind of sad. Coins. So this is a popular one. I have never collected coins. I do know people who collect coins where whenever they travel, they get money to use in that other country, and then they keep some of the coins or even some of the bills, like the paper money, when they come home. And then they might keep it in a nice display thing like this. This is probably a binder with special plastic pages in it that you can store your coins in. But a fun thing to do, I have a few coins from South Africa. I have lots of American coins from the United States. And I also have a few coins from other countries like Holland. And I think my in-laws gave me coins. Where were those from? I can't remember. I think from Haiti. I might have a few coins. So very cool. Coin collection. Collecting. Sorry, that wasn't a word that I just said. Collection isn't a word. You collect and you have a collection. Stamps. As a kid, I also had a stamp collection. The reason I had a stamp collection is because my mom had a stamp collection and encouraged us to collect stamps. Stamps are the little thing that you can lick and put on an envelope, or you might just make it wet some other way and put it on an envelope. In Canada, you don't have to lick the stamps anymore. They stick by themselves. You peel them off and put them on an envelope, and they have a value, and that stamp means you paid to send the letter somewhere. So again, a stamp is a little sticker. It usually has a beautiful picture on it of something from your country or a famous person from your country, and every country has its own stamps. So I did have a stamp collection. By the way, in this lesson, I will not be talking about like the strange words we use for the people who collect these things or what the actual name is, because we don't use those in English. There's probably a very interesting name. You can put them in the chat as we do the lesson. Bottle caps. So I had a friend who as a kid collected bottle caps. When you open a bottle of soda, or if you drink alcoholic beverages, a bottle of beer, you get a bottle cap. They're not as common anymore in this form. This was the form of bottle cap that existed when I was a kid, and they were fun to collect. We actually collected them as kids, but then we used them as play money. When we played with each other, we used bottle caps to pretend we were buying and selling things because they kind of look like coins. But again, a bottle cap, it's basically the cap of the bottle, right? So you have a baseball cap, but a bottle cap as well. And when you open the bottle, it goes ka-choo. There's your first sound effect for the day. Cans and bottles. So not only do people collect bottle caps, they might actually collect the cans or bottles that the drink came in. You can see here, this is a really old can collection, soda can, or I would call pop can collection. I can tell it's old because the cans don't look that way anymore. They look a little different on the top and bottom. But people might collect cans. They might collect bottles. Autographs. So I forgot to add something. People collect autographs now, but they also collect selfies with famous people. So an autograph is when a famous person signs their name. That's the phrase we use, to sign your name. They sign their name on a piece of paper, maybe on, like here you have him, that's Beckham, signing a soccer ball or football. They sign something with their autograph or their name, and then that's something people will collect. But in this day and age, people also collect selfies. They ask the person if they can take a selfie with them, and then maybe at home they get it developed and put it on the wall, or print it out and put it on the wall. But an autograph is the name of a famous person that you get from a famous person. I do not have anyone's autograph at all. Rocks. So this is the other thing that I did have as a child. I had a rock collection. In the area where I live, it's easy to find really unique rocks. Some of my rocks had sparkling parts to them. Some of my rocks were just white, or I had a few rocks that were black. I think I had a piece of coal as well. But a rock collection is something fun. If you regularly go hiking or go to the beach, or go somewhere where you see little rocks, you might pick one up if it looks interesting. Maybe the way it catches the sun or reflects sunlight a little bit. Maybe it's just kind of a neat shape and you like it. So you might pick up that rock and add it to your rock collection. I really liked my rock collection as a kid. I also do not know where my rock collection is. I should really talk to my mom about what happened to my hockey card collection and my rock collection. I think both have probably disappeared at this point in time. Coasters. So this is an interesting one. When you go to a drinking establishment like a bar or a pub and you order a cold drink, or even if you're in a restaurant ordering soda or pop, they will put what's called a coaster under the glass because whatever you're drinking is cold, and there will be some water running down the outside. You know how when it's really warm outside, there will be condensation on the outside of a glass if it has a cold drink in it. So they put a coaster underneath to protect the table or bar if you're at a bar. And these coasters usually have images on them or the names of companies that sell different kinds of beverages. And some people really enjoy collecting coasters. I do not know anyone with a coaster collection, but when I searched for coaster collections on Google, there were a lot of pictures of people showing their collection of coasters. So again, a coaster is just a flat, I think it's cardboard. It's a flat cardboard thing that you put under a cold glass of a beverage so that when the condensation comes down, it doesn't make the table or whatever surface you're setting it on wet. Cars. So this is not something I collect. This is something that you collect if you are really, really wealthy. So I'm going to assume none of us here have car collections. When you are really rich, maybe you're a multi-millionaire or billionaire, and if you like cars, you might go and buy cars. You might go to a car auction. You might collect really old cars, or you might collect new sports cars. I don't know because I am not a car collector. I am a collector of old minivans, and I have two in my collection right now. But yes, if you had more money than you know what to do with, you might collect something like cars. People like me collect stamps and small figurines that they got from their mom. But there might, of course, be people in the chat who have enough money and might have a car collection, but certainly not me. You need a place to put them too. Figurines. So figurines are basically anything like these little items I was showing you. Did I show you? Here's the hippo. It's a nice little hippopotamus. And then what? Oh, there's also a turtle. So figurines are things like that. They can be large or small, but basically it's like a little sculpture or a little figure of an animal or a person. They're really cool. These are the same as the ones I'm showing you. As I mentioned, they came in the box of tea when I was a kid. And then as children, we would fight over who got them because every time my parents opened a new box of Red Rose tea, there would be a new figurine in it. I think this is a corgi. And then as kids, we would fight over who got the figurine. But a figurine, a small kind of lifelike representation of something like an animal or person. Fridge magnets. This is a weird one. When you have a fridge, sometimes the front of the fridge is metal. The front of our fridge, you can't put magnets on. So our fridge magnets are on the side. But you might get a fridge magnet when you go on a trip. When you go to a souvenir shop, you might buy a fridge magnet from the place that you are visiting. Maybe a business sends you a fridge magnet in the mail and it has their phone number on it. You would then put it on your fridge. And if you are like this lady, you might have a whole collection of fridge magnets. So again, a magnet sticks to metal. So if the front of your fridge is metal, a fridge magnet has a magnet on the back. And then on the front, it will have a picture or a picture of a place with its name or a business information from a business. And the magnet allows it to stick to the fridge. Kind of fun. Where am I here? Just checking hats. I have a small hat collection. I have 3 hats. I have a hat from the farm. Actually, I should have brought my hat collection. I have a hat from the Toronto Blue Jays. And then I have a hat from when I was a kid that my dad used to wear. So very cool. This would be a little bit more of a hat collection. So you can see this person really likes the Toronto Blue Jays. That's a baseball team that plays in Toronto, a professional team. And this person has bought a number of different variations of that hat. This is a great example of what collecting means. When you have a hat, it's not a collection. But there are different styles and colors. And as you buy all of those, as you collect them, you start to put together a collection. So this person has a really nice hat collection. You might have a collection of hats from something completely different. You might have hats from a football team. You might have hats from a racing team. There's a lot of different types of hats that you can collect. Now, I find this one a little strange, but it is pretty common. Maybe this is like an American thing more than Canadian or other parts of the world, but some people collect salt and pepper shakers. So salt, of course, is white and makes food salty. Pepper is either white or black or a mixture and makes food a little spicier or tastier. Not really spicier, more peppery probably. But some people collect salt and pepper shakers. So you see on this shelf here, there are salt and pepper shakers that look like mushrooms. There are salt and pepper shakers that look like small animals and eggs, and not sure what some of these things are. Some look like pig faces, but this person must like collecting salt and pepper shakers. And so I hope no one in the chat is a salt and pepper shaker collector, because I just was making it sound like only strange people do this. But some people really like salt and pepper shakers and they like to collect them. Seashells. This is more common. This is similar to collecting rocks. If you're someone who likes to go on vacation and you often go to the beach, you go to the ocean or to a lake, you might collect seashells. You're more likely to find seashells in the ocean, although here you can find things like clam shells and those kinds of things. So, but yeah, let's say you're going to the ocean and you're walking along the sandy beach. You might be able to find small seashells. So seashells are, of course, the shell of an animal that lived in the sea and either no longer needs the shell or is no longer with us. And you might like how the shell looks. Often a seashell has a really unique shape. They're fun to look at. Sometimes a seashell has parts that are shiny, and they're just very cool and very interesting. I keep knocking my figurines around here. I should move those. So you might collect seashells by the seashore. She sells seashells by the seashore. That's a tongue twister. I almost said it wrong. She sells seashells by the seashore. There you go. Try that a few times if you're practicing your S's and your sh sound. Spoons. To me, this is similar to salt and pepper shakers. Not quite sure why some people collect spoons. I actually think my one grandma did have a spoon collection. So whenever she visited somewhere, she would get a spoon from that location. You could buy spoons. You also could buy spoons for different events. Like I think she had spoons from different, like different events. Like when Queen Elizabeth became queen, I think you could buy a spoon to commemorate that event. And my grandma, I think she had spoons from Holland as well for some reason. I'm not a huge, I don't have a wealth of knowledge about spoon collection. Maybe some of you know better, but you could collect antique spoons, which are just really old spoons, or you might collect spoons that are made to commemorate an event. When you commemorate an event, it means you do something to help remember it. So you might have a spoon collection that commemorates lots of important events in the world. Stickers. So this is something that kids collect. When I was a kid, it was rare to get a sticker from somewhere. But if I got stickers, I wouldn't stick them to anything. I would keep them in a little box. So instead of sticking them everywhere, I kept them in a box. My kids have lots of stickers that they got as kids, and they put them everywhere. So again, a sticker is sticky. One side is sticky. So the same way a fridge magnet sticks to metal, a sticker has like a sticky glue type surface, and you can put a sticker on anything. Often I've noticed students right now collect stickers and put them on their laptops. So at school, students have laptops like computers, and they usually have a sticker collection on their laptop. Maybe something like this, maybe Pokemon, or something else that they collect and like to look at. Ties. I do not have a tie collection, but if you are someone that wears a tie every day for work, it's possible that you actually have a tie collection. You might have serious ties and fun ties and humorous ties. You might have ties that are from different sports teams, but if you wear a necktie, if you wear a suit and tie every day, you might have decided, you know what, I'm going to collect ties. I'm going to have 150 ties that I wear in all different occasions. So I don't have a tie collection. I have 3 ties and I only wear 2 of them, I think, something like that. I should get a new tie. I should get a Bob the Canadian tie. That'd be fun. T-shirts. So T-shirt collecting is often related to music. When you go to a concert, you can often buy a T-shirt from the band. Well, not directly from them, from the people outside who sell the T-shirts for the band. So if you like the band Rush or Def Leppard, these are some pretty old bands here, you might have a T-shirt collection because you've gone to a number of concerts over the years. So again, T-shirts can be collected. You can also have a T-shirt collection from something else. Maybe you love Star Wars and you have a whole bunch of different T-shirts that have different Star Wars images on them. Or maybe you really like the Toronto Blue Jays. You could, just like having a hat collection, have a T-shirt collection from that sporting team or from a band. Again, a T-shirt is what I'm wearing. I purposely wore a T-shirt today. If you go like this, let me go and do this. Let's see. If you do this, a T-shirt is basically in the shape of a T. The middle part's pretty thick though, but it's in the shape of a letter T. And it's one of the simplest things that people wear in the world. It's easy to put on. There's no buttons. And so it's also very comfortable, right? When you come home from work, if you wear ties, you probably change and put on a T-shirt, maybe one from your collection. Wristbands. So again, These can be collected. They're not used as much anymore, I don't think, because often now I guess they still are. Like if you go to a concert, you usually just show your phone and go in. You don't always get a wristband. Sometimes you can buy a wristband. There will be a special wristband from the event. If you go to a fair or an event where you go in and out, they'll often give you a wristband. So again, a wristband is a small plastic or rubber thing that goes on your wrist, either from the event you're at or as your ticket kind of to go in and out of the event. And some people collect wristbands. Some people will buy wristbands at every event they go to that sells them, and then they'll have a nice little wristband collection. I'm always sad when I see things from One Direction. They were a very, very fun group. They're no longer together, but I was definitely a One Direction fan in the sense that if they were on the radio, I would listen to them. If I went to a One Direction concert and they had wristbands, I would probably get one for sure. Mugs. Yeah, I hope this isn't a lesson where this is only stuff that North Americans collect, and now you think North Americans are strange, but people do collect mugs. They might collect mugs in the same way they collect other souvenirs. So when you go to Niagara Falls, you can buy a mug that says Niagara Falls on it with a picture. When you go to New York City, you can buy a mug that says I love New York. So you might collect mugs from different places you've visited, or you might have a different reason to collect mugs. A mug is, of course, I think it's a ceramic thing to drink out of, to drink hot beverages. I try to think of what the definition of a mug is. It's one of those. If you drink tea or coffee, you generally use a mug. In our part of the world, we don't use plastic glasses or glass glasses to drink coffee. I know in some parts of the world people do, but in North America, you either drink your coffee or tea from a mug if you're at home or at work, or you might drink it from like a takeout cup if you're getting it from a drive-through restaurant. But some people like to collect mugs. Antiques. This is another one that costs a bit of money. It doesn't have to. It's not like collecting cars where you need thousands or tens of thousands of dollars. But when you collect antiques, it means you collect things that are old. Antiques are things that people used 20, 30, 50, 100 years ago, 200 years ago, or more. You might buy an antique plate or an antique radio or an antique, I can't put my finger on the picture, table, an antique telephone. So again, antiques are old things, and some people just like to collect antiques. They like old furniture and the way it was made, or they like having a few old things around. I think when I'm older, if I had a little bit of extra money, I might collect things from the 80s, like video game related stuff. They wouldn't technically be antiques. I guess they would be, but that would interest me to collect older things that I could have on a shelf somewhere. I guess that's what you do with your collection, right? You put it on a shelf if you can. Toys. Some people collect toys. These are actually called Beanie Babies, I believe. There are popular toys that people like to collect. Often the fast food restaurants will give out toys like this sometimes to encourage people to collect them. What they really want you to do is buy hamburgers. But some people like to collect toys. They'll collect stuffed animals. Sometimes people really, really like teddy bears. And so they'll have a teddy bear collection. They'll have 5, 10, 15 teddy bears, all different shapes and sizes that they have bought and that they keep in their collection. So I do not have a toy collection. Well, it's not true. I think I still have some Lego from when I was a kid, but I wouldn't call that a collection. It's just in a box. But some people like to collect toys. Dolls. Some people like collecting dolls. Dolls are, of course, little toys. Sometimes dolls are created for people to play with. Sometimes dolls are created simply for collectors. So these dolls to me look like they were made for collectors. I'm not sure any kids ever played with these dolls. So again, a doll is a small toy that looks like a baby or child that little kids will play with. And some people really like to collect them. And I bet you old dolls are worth quite a bit of money. CDs, records. So there's a whole list of things you can collect when it comes to music. And it kind of extends into movies and TV shows now. So you might have a record collection or a vinyl collection, or we sometimes call them LPs or albums. They're the original large black discs that are made from vinyl that you can play on a record player. Some people have a CD collection. Some people have a Blu-ray collection or a DVD collection or a VHS. That's the big black tape you would put into a VHS to play a movie. But some people like to collect them. If you have really, really old records from the 70s, they might be worth quite a bit of money, for sure. Film posters. When a film is being advertised, when a film is coming out soon, there are usually posters, usually in the theater, sometimes at the shopping mall, sometimes even at a grocery store. You will see posters advertising or announcing a new movie. And these are desirable as collector items. Like, people really like collecting movie posters. Sometimes people get the original movie posters, but sometimes they just go to a store or they might order online a copy of a movie poster. So if you really liked Star Wars, you might have a movie poster from each of the movies that came out, and you might have them on display. I like movie posters. I don't have any art on my walls, but if I was to put things on my walls, movie posters would be something I would consider. Film posters, movie posters. Postcards. So this is kind of funny. A lot of you have sent me postcards, and I do collect postcards now, kind of by accident because people send them to me. I get about 4 or 5 a week. It's very nice. The address is below. But some people actually buy postcards when they visit a country and they don't mail it to anyone. So you can buy a postcard and write a message on it and mail it to someone. You can buy a postcard and just take it home and put it in your postcard collection. And then here's another interesting one. I know someone who, whenever they visit somewhere, like if they go to Italy or Japan or South Africa, they buy a postcard and then they mail it to themselves so that they have the postcard and the stamp from that country, and then the little authorization stamp as well. So a postcard is basically a small card, kind of a thick piece of paper with usually a picture on one side of a location, a city like New York, and it will say New York. And then on the back, you can write something and you can put an address on and a stamp, and you can send it. Very cool. I enjoy every postcard I get. I do read all of them. I know some of you send postcards and you might wonder if I read them, but I do appreciate them. So if you want to send me a postcard, there's an address below. P.O. Box 419 Smithville, Ontario, Canada, LOR 2AO. That's my address. It's right down there. Buttons. So these are kind of interesting. On one side, there's a pin, and the pin goes through your clothes and it holds the button on. And you might wear a button to support a sports team. You might wear a button that says vote for Justin Trudeau. Like if you support a certain candidate in an election, you might wear a button because you want other people to know that's who you're voting for. But buttons are kind of interesting. You can hurt yourself when you put a button on. You don't want to accidentally poke yourself because, yeah, the back is this interesting. It's like a needle pin, kind of goes through your clothes and then snaps on. I did wear a button once at school, and it had a magnet on the back. So that was nice. That was a little safer. I think that was a button. Shoes. Someone mentioned this. Some people like to collect shoes. Some people simply like to collect shoes because they like to wear them. Some people like to collect shoes that maybe are connected to a certain athlete and they don't wear them. They just put them on display. I don't collect shoes, but I guess I do have a shoe collection. I have my good pair of running shoes, my walking shoes, my farm running shoes, my old running shoes. I think I have 5 pairs of running shoes because I like to walk. And I actually like to wear a different pair every other day, but I wouldn't call it a collection. Michael Jordan Lionel Messi has it. None of them have signed my shoes. I just have basic shoes. Actually, I have these shoes right here. They're Asics. That's the exact shoe that I have. Is it really? Is it really? Yes, it really is. This is, we're going to have twin day at school. We have a day where like two teachers dress up wearing the same clothes. It's usually midway through the year. So this year on twin day, I'm just going to bring my bobblehead. That'll be fun. Comic books. This has become quite popular. You can go to comic book stores. There are stores that buy and sell comic books because there are a lot of people that collect comic books. Comic books are any book that tells a picture, tells a story through pictures and words. So there are some really cool comic books from different countries, and people love to collect them. So I myself do not have a comic book collection, but I do have several Tintin comic books and a few Asterix and Obelix comic books. Very nice. Also, there's like Superman and Batman and all those. If you're a musician, you might have an instrument collection. If you play guitar, you might have a guitar collection. If you play violin, you might have 4 of them. Probably not, but maybe. It's probably more likely with guitars. If you play piano, you probably don't have a piano collection. But if you have enough money and if you have a place to put them, and if you like guitars, you might have a guitar collection. Certainly, if you're in a rock band and you're a guitarist, you might collect guitars. Watches. So you can collect all different kinds of watches. Right now, it's becoming popular to collect digital watches from the 80s. It's very popular for people to find old Casio watches and try to get them working again. Some people collect expensive watches. Maybe you collect cars and Rolex watches. If you are someone who has that much money, I have my Fitbit. This is the only thing I wear. It was $129. That's it. I'm not buying anymore. I do have a Fitbit collection though. I have 3 because 2 are broken. So over the years, the first one I smashed while working on the farm. Then the second one, I don't know what happened, but I think I hit it against the wall at school and it ended up cracking and doesn't work anymore. So I have a collection, 2 that don't work and 1 that works. But anyways, some people like to collect watches or old timepieces. Handbags. So maybe you really like Gucci or you like Yves Saint Laurent. Do they make bags? I don't know who all makes bags. I'm not obvious. Wait, there's an Yves Saint Laurent at the top there, isn't there? Maybe you like handbags. You might call this a handbag. You might call this a purse, depending on the size. Jen does not actually collect handbags. I'm thankful because handbags are not cheap. They are very expensive. But maybe you enjoy collecting handbags or purses, things that you can put things in when you go out for the day. Books. So when we talk about collecting books, sometimes people will collect books in the sense that they buy books and read them and put them on a shelf. So if you read science fiction, you might have a huge collection of science fiction books, but some people just collect old books. They like buying old books. So we don't usually call them antique books, but like similar to antiques, people like buying old books. And old books almost always look like this when I imagine them. They're usually brown and faded, but they might be looking for the first edition of a certain book. So maybe they're looking for the first edition of a Sherlock Holmes book because they know it's very valuable and they want to buy one because it's worth money and they want it in their collection. People collect art. You do not have to have a lot of money to collect art. Although if you have a lot of money, you can collect more expensive art. But if you enjoy having things on your wall, interesting paintings that people have made, you might collect art. So you might go to an art show, you might go to an art gallery. There might be an artist that you really, really enjoy, and you might buy a work of art from that person to add to your art collection. I should have some art, shouldn't I? Maybe that should be the thing I do. Maybe I should spend a little bit of money every other year on art. I have trouble spending money on things that don't do anything, but I guess art does, right? It makes you feel good. It makes you appreciate life. Maybe I should collect some art. For those of you who are artists out there, leave a comment below. Video games. Some people collect video games. Some people like collecting the consoles, which is the device that plays it, or they like collecting the cartridge, which is the thing you put in. I do not think I will be doing that. I don't know. Maybe I will collect video games someday. I played a lot of video games as a PC, on a PC. I didn't always play console games, but it would be fun to buy some old consoles. I'll have to think about that. Some people collect wine. Sometimes they drink the wine. Sometimes it just sits in their wine cellar. So maybe you really like wine. Wine is an alcoholic beverage made from grapes. So they grow grapes in a vineyard and eventually they will make wine. And some people like to collect wine and put it in their wine collection. They have a little wine cellar or an area in their house where they keep the wine. And every once in a while, they open one and drink it. Action figures. So action figures are small little toys, usually related to comic books. So if you like the Avengers, you can buy a Thor action figure. If you like the X-Men, you can buy a Wolverine action figure. If you like Superman, you can buy a Superman action figure. They are things you can buy, that little toys you can buy that are from the comic books you like to read, or the cartoons you like to watch, or the movies you like to watch as well. I don't have any action figures, so maybe someday. And then lastly, bobbleheads. So again, a bobblehead is something like this. The head moves because there's a spring in the back. It's usually made to represent a person in real life. So you can buy bobbleheads of sports figures. You can buy bobbleheads of movie stars. If you have really nice fans, they get a bobblehead made for you and sent to you. So I have my little Bob the Canadian bobblehead. But yes, bobbleheads, little figurines where the head moves on a spring and bobbles.